Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Devashish, and I am here to help you with this course, Fundamentals of Agricultural Extension Education. Before that, we are going to discuss what actually education is. Then we'll shift towards what is extension education and why we are dealing with it in agricultural course. Before that, let's have the agenda in your screen. We are going to discuss about the concept of education, what are the different types of education, and how extension education has a vast history since 1900 in India and how it has been established. What are the main objectives, functions, and characteristics of extension education? Last but not the least, we are going to discuss about what is extension education process and the elements which are involved in making this process more effective. So let's discuss what is education. Swami Vivekananda has rightly said that education is the manifestation of perfection already in men. Education is a process of bringing about desirable changes in human behavior. In front of your screen, we have the word education is derived from actually a Latin word, that is educare, which means to bring up. Another Latin word is educere, which means to bring forth. Actually, it education where E means out of, D-U-C-O, you can pronounce it as duco, which means to lead. Educate means to lead, to extract out the best in men, which actually Swami Vivekananda has said in his famous quote. I am repeating this. Education is the manifestation of perfection already in men. Here we have different definitions given by different philosophers and thinkers, where education doesn't mean teaching people to know, but teaching how to behave as they do not. That previously how I expected that we should understand education is a process of bringing about desirable changes in the behavior of the people. Education is not only getting a degree from the school, from the universities. It is something beyond that. It is teaching the people how to behave, how to bring about the changes in the behavioral components. The word behavioral components exists and there are certain elements in it. You can say that behavioral component means knowledge, skill, attitude, and action. Here, another definition also gives that it anything that teaches us to hate what we ought to love and what we must is called education. Education is something that we are in a phase of learning. We should unlearn the things in the past and we should move forward. It is also the development of the capacities or the capabilities in the individual which will enable him or her to control his environment and fulfill his responsibilities. If you are bringing about desirable changes in your behavior, then it is quite self-sufficient. Here, as we discussed that there are different behavioral components. Here I am going to discuss about the particular elements in the behavioral component. One is the knowledge, second attitude, third are the skills. In the left hand side we have the complete definition which we have discussed earlier by the several scientists and philosophers. In the screen we have education is the process of bringing about desirable changes in the behavior, or is the process of giving training and instruction to the people to develop their knowledge, to develop their skills, to develop their abilities, to develop their character, and to develop the mental powers. The various elements including in the behavioral components that we have already discussed, one is knowledge, attitude, and skills. Where knowledge provides the facts, it may be cognitive, it may be quantitative, it may be affective. But cognitive element, we are including it in the knowledge sector. Attitude, we can see it is in the affective domain, where we have certain feeling towards an object, towards a person, or towards a situation, or towards some data. Where skills is refer to the psychomotor domain. That is, we are doing some work with the expertise that we have. Then there are several types of education that we need to discuss. Here one is the formal education, second one is the informal education, third one is non-formal education. We can have a brief classification of education before moving forward towards the extension education. Here in front of your screen, there is clear-cut distinction between the formal education, informal education, and non-formal education. If we want to discuss that as a small example, we are going to school, we are obeying the rules and regulations, we are coming at 9 a.m. or returning back at 4 p.m. That means we are set apart by certain rules and regulations. We are allowed to obey the rules and regulations, so it is fine. Then what is formal education? Formal education is something that is continuous during our school time, college time, and informal education is completely opposite of it. That is, we are learning the course in due course of time, that is starting from our birth to the death of an individual. We learn at every point of time. That is, there is no rules and regulations, and we learn from a specific teacher. The teachers are also different at different stages of time. Our parents are teachers. Then non-formal education. Non-formal education is something that is having both type of education, characteristics of both the types of education. That is, it is having the structure of one and the function of the other. Non-formal education consists of the extension education. And before moving towards it, we have certain concepts to discuss, that is pedagogy, andragogy, and synagogy. These are very common nowadays, because if we discuss about what actually pedagogy is, that is the art, science, and practice of teaching the children, is the pedagogy. Andragogy, it includes the methods and practice of teaching the adult, which involves the theory and learning process of an adult, which is different from the children. So basically we can say that the clear-cut difference between pedagogy and andragogy is line that is teaching, practice of teaching the children. Andragogy deals with practice of teaching the adults. What is synagogy? It is the art and science of teaching the learners with the help of media. Here, learners can be the children, learners can be adults, but if we are utilizing certain kind of media in our course, or we are using the media for teaching them, then it becomes synagogy. So these are the concepts that we must understand before moving forward. Then yes, we are into the field of extension education. That is the main course here. We have discussed three types of education: formal education, informal education, and non-formal education. In the non-formal education, I discussed that it is having both the components. That means in extension education also, we are having the adults, where adults are the farmers in our case. They may be from, you can take from the age of 18 years or 16 years towards the age of 60 years. So we are going to deal with this kind of farmers. And how we are going to deal with the farmers? Let's discuss. First of all, let's ponder over what actually extension education is. Extension education is comprising of two words. One is extension, the second one is education. Extension is derived from Latin roots. Ex means out. Tension means stretching. Stretching out something. We have already heard of where the extension word. Yes, we have heard while using the extension pod. Extension of timing. That means stretching out something. It was first of all, this term was used in United Kingdom. It is an out-of-school education which consisting of the contents which are actually derived from researches, field experiences, and several principles. Actually, this definition is given by J. Paul Liggins, who said that extension education is one of the out-of-school education. That means those persons who have not attended the university proper, or who have been into the schools and left out, So now I am going to discuss that how an out of school system of education is essential in bringing about a desirable change in the behavior. This system of education actually consists of the applied components from the researchers, from the field experiences and the scientists, those actually who conduct this field research, and whatever the results are there, they are utilizing that. And several principles which are drawn from the behavioral sciences. These are designed to find out the solutions for the farmers in agricultural sector utilizing several technologies. In front of your screen there are three words. One is extension education and agricultural extension, where the students are getting confused. I am very much thankful that I got an opportunity to say that what actually the basic difference are. Extension, stretching out something simply. Extension education is a component that is being added into the term extension. Stretching out something, that means if we are going to our school, that means up to 4 o'clock is the time, but we are moving beyond that. After 4 o'clock the farmers are getting free, and we are getting an opportunity that after 4 o'clock we are getting an opportunity to teach them. They are getting free, they are having their own time, then we are getting ready to teach them. Then what is agricultural extension? Extension is the practical aspects, extension education is the theoretical aspect. When the practical aspect of extension is being utilized in the field of agriculture, that gives you agricultural extension. That means the principles, practices, theories, everything that we study in extension as a practice is being applied to the field of agriculture. That is called as agricultural extension. If we are going to discuss about the history of extension education, it has a long route back towards 1800 BC. In 1800 BC, this concept of agricultural extension sparkled. In 1845, the first modern agricultural extension service was started in Ireland during the potato famine in 1845. Moving forward, in 1879, France actually began a national service using itinerant agriculturists. What actually the term itinerant means? Because our scientists at that time are moving here and there, that means towards the farmer's house, in giving the solutions for the problems they are facing. In providing them the solutions, they are moving farmers, they are moving scientists, moving towards the farmers for providing the solutions to the particular problem. But it was during the time of 1800 to 1800 BC. I am talking of 1866 and 1867, when the first practical attempt was made by James Stewart in providing the lectures to the working men clubs and working women clubs. And what we can say, as the education is involved in it, we can say that it is a concept had been sparkled, and it was referred to as university extension. Now, where the first society actually which is established for spread of academic knowledge of agriculture through lectures and publication, it was started well before 1800 BC, that is 1728. It was started in Scotland. In 1866, the term extension was originated in United Kingdom, that is called or England. Like I have discussed, that is in 1867, the first practical steps were taken by James Stewart to give the lectures to the Women's Association and Working Men's Club. University extension was accepted by several universities, and they are Cambridge University, London University and Oxford University in respective dates, that is 1873, 1876 and 1878. In 1862, before that, Morrill Act was passed to start the educational opportunities for working men. Morrill Act was established for establishing the land grant colleges. That means the colleges are having their own land. The researchers actually they conduct their research in the field provided to them, and the people who are staying, also the professors or the teachers, they are also certain kind of land, and whatever the produce will be there, and after harvesting they are selling the produce, and whatever the money they will get, that will be utilized for the goodwill of the university. That was the concept of Morrill Act and land grant colleges session, and teaching, research and extension. Here the teaching concept, the research concept actually established. One of the committees, that is a Philadelphia committee, was established to give the out of school education, to keep the rural people in rural areas and to check migration. If you see Hatch Act, like Morrill Act, another act is Hatch Act, where demonstration was emphasized, where the research was focused. The Farmers Institute printed bulletins and correspondence courses were started. 904 seed corn trains were organized in Iowa for widespread education program, where the seed corn trains means the corn varieties were transferred from one place to another through the trains. And it was a method of communicating the people that one of the new varieties are released from these universities or by the researchers. Smith-Lever Act, which was also enacted, in which cooperative extension service was provided. So, in Morrill Act, the focus was on teaching. Hatch Act, research. And extension, actually, it was emphasized, or you can say cooperative extension services was emphasized in Smith-Lever Act. Then, if we say that extension in several countries are known in various names, one is vulgarization in French, Bourliching in Dutch, Beratung in German, capacitation in Spanish, Tarwij and Gosteres in Persian language, and Penyuluhan in Indonesia, which are having the same meaning as extension, or you can find one is having extension. Bourliching means lightening the path. Beratung means advisory work. Capacitation has a meaning in training and capacity building. Tarwij and Gosteres in Persian language, which means to promote and to extend. Penyuluhan in Indonesian language, that means giving illumination in the dark. So, various meanings are associated with the term extension. Extension education and extension services are the two levels of extension, where extension education is the theoretical part which brings about the desirable changes in the behavior by utilizing the concepts and content from researches, accumulated field experiences and relevant principles. Extension service is that whatever the theoretical aspect we have already studied, and the main responsibility of the extension service is with the state government, where the service is the location specific, input intensive and target oriented, which means the service is provided to the people by the extension workers. The state government plays a crucial role in providing the service to the farmers. Then, what are the different objectives of extension? We can say that objectives are the ends towards which our efforts are directed. So, we can divide it into two types, that is general objective or fundamental or specific objective, where the general objective is to bringing about an increase in production and income, that is material aspect. Educationally, we can see the change, the outlook of the people or the individual. In social and cultural concepts, we can see that community development is one of the general objectives. Then what is fundamental or specific objective? That is to develop the rural people economically, socially and culturally. By what? By education. Several functions of extension we can see here. As we have already discussed that how extension has been derived, and what is extension, what are the concepts of extension, what are the different levels of extension, what are the objectives of extension. We actually study extension. That means it brings about a desirable change in knowledge, skill, attitude, understanding, goal, action, and ultimately it brings about a change in confidence. It makes you a highly confident individual. Then what are the characteristics of extension education? As we discussed, that a strong sense of cooperation between the researchers and the farmers. There is a broad scope because it is not only a single course. We can study the educational concepts here, we can study the psychological concepts here, anthropological concepts here. Everything is quite interlinked and it is multidisciplinary in nature. Main thing is it is non-formal in nature. That means it has certain rules and regulations, but it has been away from the boundaries of schools or universities. It is quite flexible as per the needs of the potential learners. primarily concerned with the teaching of the clientele. Clientele may vary. It may be farmers, it may be the rural youth, it may be the women, everybody. Here, voluntary participation is expected from the individuals. Voluntary participation means the people are voluntarily interested to participate. That means if I am conducting a program at 5 p.m. or 9 p.m., interested individuals who are interested in improving their skills, knowledge, attitude, they are only interested to participate in certain programs, which is family centered, because we are focusing on a particular family. It may be joint family or nuclear family, that doesn't matter. But family centered means if I am focusing on one individual of that family who is the bread owner, then other members of the other members of the family are also involved in cooperating the same. Before that, we have already discussed what is extension education and how many levels of extension are there, but several other concepts of extension also emerge, that is extension work, extension service, and extension process. Extension process will deal further. Extension service we have discussed, and what is extension work? Extension work is actually the work done by the individual or the scientist who is quite involved in solving the problems of the farmers, who actually visits the farmers in their home environment, consults with them, finds out their problems, and prioritize the solutions for solving a particular problem. Last but not the least, we are going to discuss about the extension education process, which has been given by J. Paul Liggins, who is also called as father of extension in USA. In 1967, he actually gave a short form of SOTER, S-O-T-E-R. S for situation and problems, O for objectives and solutions, teaching the plan of work, T, evaluation, E, and reconsideration, R. Situation and problems, if I am going to discuss about, or I am going to give an example about the same, situation and problems where any problem that may be faced by the individual at a particular place, that may be highlighted, or problems are so many, but we need to prioritize it. Any kind of situation, it may be tribal area, it may be rural area, it may be urban area. The problems are different in different places. The problems are different for different individuals also. But when we are shifting towards how we are going to prioritize it, this extension workers or extension professionals or extension scientists will help them to prioritize the same. For that problem, we need to fix the objectives. We have already discussed the general objective and specific objective. Specific objective deals with the cultural, social, and political or economical well-being of the people. So we, according to the problem, we need to fix our objective so that we can reach a particular goal. Then how we are going to achieve it? We are going to achieve it through the process of the teaching. Teaching is a process of arranging the situation where the communication takes place between the individuals, that is the teacher and the opposite person, who may be a farmer, who may be a youth, who may be a woman. How we are going to give the concepts, we are going to give the strength so that they can deal with their own problems. Whatever the objectives we are set, if we are getting the desired results, then our evaluation is successful. Whatever the objectives we have set, yes, we are getting the same objectives fulfilled at the end of any program. If we are teaching something, that means we are giving a solution to a particular problem. If the farmer or anyone or our clientele is accepting that in the particular field, then it is successful. If it is not successful, then we are moving to the last step, that is where our fault are. We are going to solve it, resolve it, that is reconsideration. Then last but not the least, what is the scope of extension education, where it is being applied? We are going to deal with agriculture, so agricultural production's efficiency and effectiveness will have a major role to play. Then in market sector also, in production, distribution and utilization, conservation, development and utilization of natural resources, management sector, family living, youth development, leadership development, community development, and many public affairs. So this much today. Thanking you all. Thank you.